Live well, win well. It is On Point with Wandel and Stokes right here, News and Talk. We're 1380 WAOK, Time Now for Sister Talk with Commissioner Elena Sanders, who's sharing with us today. Welcome to On Point. How are you?
I am doing amazing. Thank you so much for having me today.
Well, I am certainly glad to have you. As an elected official, what inspired you to run for this office, and talk to us about the community that you represent?
It's interesting you asked that question, because if you asked me that 10 years ago, I would not say that my life was going to be an elected official, but I wanted to see a difference. I know that's cliche. I wanted to see a change. There was someone that sat in his seat for 12 years.
Okay.
And we didn't see a difference. It's not putting down on that individual. It's just being real.
Okay.
Being a taxpayer, being a person in the community, I did not see the change. So why complain about it?
Right.
You be about it. You do something about it. And when I stepped into this position, I was told by many that I have awoken a community.
Oh.
Now people are paying attention to politics.
Okay.
Now people are paying attention to what's happening in their community. Now they see why we don't have this and other places have it, and why we don't have these various things in our community. I am a commissioner of Newton County, Georgia. I consider that the best county in the world.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure every commissioner, elected official, think their area is. And we are the East Atlanta, close to your Rockdale, DeKalb County. If you know of Newton County, we know as the Hollywood of the South. The majority of the movies are shot there. Facebook, we have the Rivian car plant that's coming that everybody's been talking about. So we have a lot of industry that's in our area, very growing, dominated area. A lot of people from the north, especially during the pandemic, came down and bought their homes. It's a lot cheaper than living in New York, but they're able to be as close to the Atlanta area as possible, but still get that townhome, city type feel.
Right. And a lot of the homes there are built on, acreage. You have a lot of acreage out there as well. But I can only imagine property taxes have gone up now over the last 4 or 5 years because there's so much growth out there in Newton County. Very familiar with that area. So what do you see as some of the growing needs of your community?
In my area, more so economic development. We have the industry, but because my area is so close to the Rockdale County line, my constituents are shopping in Rockdale County. So we are losing out on the sales tax. I have the most dense area in the county, the most constituents, to where a lot of houses are built, but we don't have our sit-down restaurants. They want that shopping area, and that's where they actually live, that live, work, play area. And so we're spending our tax dollars in a neighboring county that is a smaller county, but their budget is bigger than ours because they're getting our sales tax.
Right.
And so we want to see that more economic development that the community wants. They're paying their taxes. As you said, it has increased. Property taxes, homes have increased over the years. So they want to see a return on their investment.
So does it take, is it a process for that economic development, to bring businesses, companies, restaurants out there so that, you can increase those sales taxes in that area? Does that take a little minute, sometimes years?
It is a process, but my area, as I stated, is the most dense, so we have the houses.
Okay.
One of the things that the companies look at is rooftops, and that's how many homes that you have.
Okay.
So they can come to the area, but we have to seek those specific businesses that the community wants. They don't want any more fast food. A lot of people want healthier choices now.
Yeah.
They want to be able to choose on where they want to eat. We don't need nothing's wrong with the fast food. It's great. Sometimes I would go to my different areas, but we want to be able to have that sit down. I love Atlanta, but we don't want to always come to Atlanta. So
right.
We want to be able to have those various things that we can stay at home and spend our tax dollars in our community, in our neighborhood, because we pay for these homes.
Yeah.
We don't want to have to keep traveling away from home to have entertainment, to have the enjoyment that we want. So we are building some things. We're building an amphitheater. We're also building a water park for our community, but we're lacking in the economic development as far as the restaurants and the shopping area. And so if we can have that more so on the west side of our county, that's closer to the Atlanta area, then we would see a difference.
How's the job market in that area?
Interesting fact. The statistics state that 65% of our residents work here, work in Atlanta.
Wow.
They travel to the Atlanta metro area. So that's why we're trying to bring the job market. So we have the Rivian coming, but we have to make sure that our residents are trained, because you have certain industry. We have the industry.
Yeah.
We have the businesses. We have Takeda, who also makes the vaccines for COVID. Mm-hmm. We have that, but we got to make sure you have that resident that's trained to get that job. So that's working also with our technical colleges, making sure we have programs in place to train our people, train our youth that's getting out of high school, those who don't want to go to college, to be able to get those high-paying jobs. Because one of the things that concerns me is talking to our youth. My daughter just recently graduated from a school in Newton, and she goes to school in Iowa.
Okay.
One of the things she said, she's not coming back because she didn't see those things when she was growing up.
Wow.
So we have to make sure that we have the economic development, those various things, to be able to bring those people who are getting educated elsewhere to come back and bring that talent back to Newton County.
Is affordable housing any issue there in Newton County?
It is a huge issue nationwide.
Yeah, okay.
In the state of Georgia, we are in a 400,000 plus deficit in the state of Georgia, in the Atlanta metro area.
Okay.
And so it is a huge issue, because a house that's my size, I probably paid $180 for it back in 2007.
Yeah.
Now I can get $320,000 easily for a home of that size, a 3-bedroom house. Mm-hmm. So you have to look at our essential workers. You have to look at our firefighters, our law enforcement. They don't make that salary. Our teachers.
Yeah.
They don't make the salary to pay for that. Mm-hmm. A house that costs $300,000 can be a mortgage of $2,200 to $2,600 a month.
That's true.
No one who is a middle-class worker or a teacher or essential worker can afford that.
Yeah.
And so you have people who are becoming homeless. The face of homelessness has now changed. It's not what you think it is. It's people who are educated living in their cars.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they cannot afford the rent that's going up 50% overnight. I'm exaggerating when I say overnight, but in a couple of months from what they used to have paying for that same house with no renovations. Now you want me to pay 50% more. They cannot afford it.
Right. I mean, those numbers are certainly increasing, with rent, because you do have a lot of homes for rent. Are they coming out in your area?
Yes, that is one of the reasons why the increase of homes have happened. Okay. Because a lot of these investors came in, especially during the pandemic, bought up all the homes in the subdivisions, which is an issue for the homeowners, because they can't get anything done if you have a homeowners association, because the investors own most of the properties. They own majority of the votes to change things in your subdivision. So now you have renters. So you have renters in places who possibly don't think of their home as a homeowner.
Right, exactly.
And so the trajectory of the community has changed, because you now have a lot of renters. So what homeowners are doing now, they're changing their bylaws. They're putting that in those areas you can't have no more than 5 to 10% of renters in their subdivisions, which is I understand. You got into a subdivision to purchase a home that you want to live in, possibly pass down to your children and so forth. You're not looking for someone who's coming in to change the area or the environment. Not saying nothing's wrong with renters, because some people do want to rent. They may not be here for a long period of time, but there's an area where renters should be. Apartment complexes should not be in the area of residential homes, because it changes the dynamics of the home.
Yeah,
I'm not against apartments, but I do agree that it should be smart growth.
So what can homeowners do if they're already there with the home and paying HOA fees, and now, in a certain area they've got renters? Is there anything that those homeowners can do?
Well, once the renters are there, they'll probably be grandfathered in. Okay. But those homeowners can get together and help have their bylaws change with the members. They have to have a certain amount of members, and possibly put, like a lot of them have already done. Yeah. They put a percentage of homes can be rented. And once that renter is gone out of that home that has been grandfathered in, it can't be rented anymore. Right. And so that's what they're doing to try to save their neighborhoods, to make sure they don't have a saturation of renters.
Yeah, because like you said, it changes the dynamic.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Sister Talk right here on Point with Wanda Lynn Stokes. Join the conversation, 404-726-1380. We're speaking with Commissioner Elena Sanders. And when we return, we're going to talk to her about what is life like being a black female.
Wow.
In politics, as a leader, as a entrepreneur. She's an author. She's doing a lot of amazing things, but what is life like for her? We'll talk about it when we return right here on Point with Wanda Lynn Stokes. Awesome. Yeah, you're amazing.
Thank you.
Right here on Point with Wandel and Stokes, Women's History Month. Commissioner Sanders sharing with us today. Let's go to our phone lines. I've got Sharon holding. Hi, Sharon. Commissioner Sanders is on. Go right ahead. Hey. Hi.
Oh.
Yes.
Newton County. It's Newnan, Georgia, and Newton County. Yes. Yes, ma'am. We, the county per se, don't have it, but the state of Georgia has it. And it's with the Department of Community Affairs, and it's called the Georgia Dream Program. And that program helps those who need funding for their down payment, as well as to help purchase that home. So if whatever county you live in, your commissioner, your state rep should be able to have access to that. Or you can go to Department of Community Affairs website and type in Georgia Dream, and that program is there for those who are looking for assistance to apply for a home, to purchase a home, and need assistance for the down payment. Yes, ma'am.
Thanks a lot, Sharon. Stay healthy, stay connected, stay on point. Commissioner Sanders, you know, you're in a position of power and influence. How is that for you, being a black female?
Being a black female in this position, it is not easy.
Okay.
I'm going to be honest with you. I am the first African American female that sits on my board ever in the history of this board. I am an educated woman, and people don't look at that. I've had opportunities where people even said, "Oh, you think you're so educated, and you think you all that." No, I have the same opportunities that are afforded to you.
Yeah.
And my parents took the time to instill things in me to become educated. I don't put it in people's faces, but I do have knowledge, and I believe in research. And so as a trailblazer, being the first of many, you have to make sure that you are in this position and leave it in the way that whoever's coming behind you makes it a little bit easier for them. Mm-hmm. So I'm the one that's in this position getting the backlash. I'm the one in the position getting all the trials and the tribulation, because God knew that I could make it through and I could persevere through it. He knew I was strong enough to get through it. But I'm honored to be the first. I'm honored for all the constituents who support me in all that I do. I'm honored for those constituents who say, thank you for speaking up for us. Those who did not have a voice for so many years and wanted to speak up and speak out. I speak up on right, and I'm going to speak up when it's wrong. That's what it's all about. I never considered myself a politician. I've always been a public servant. I've been a part of many organizations where we have to serve. Yeah. It's a part of our makeup. So I love serving the community. If you hear me speak, you hear me say, I don't like politics.
Okay.
Can't stand politics, because I don't believe we should politic with people's lives.
Okay.
As a public servant, we are put in place to serve people. We are put in place to help people. The constituency is our bosses. You hire and you fire us at the polls.
Yeah.
So we are here to represent you and not ourselves. A lot of times people get in this position for selfish gain. Mm-hmm. They get in this position for themselves and forget about the people. And then they use their position of power for a negative situation.
I see.
And so there are instances where you may have an official who's upset with me and may think that we're not going to vote for a park to go in your area because I'm mad at you. Mm-hmm. You're not hurting Commissioner Sanders. You're hurting the thousands of kids, the thousands of people who are looking to you to serve them, to put that parks and recreation in their community. You're not hurting me when you're stopping grant money from coming into my community because you're upset because I did it. Yeah. That's not hurting me. I'm one individual. I'm one vote. I'm not even 10% of the community.
Right.
You're hurting a group of people. So if elected officials think in that manner, yes, we're going to agree to disagree. I wouldn't want anybody to agree with me at all times. Because when I say this, when you have a board that's always agreeing, you might want to check behind it.
That's right.
Something's going on back there. You need to find out what's going on.
Yeah.
If nobody's saying anything and everything is getting passed and nobody has a comment or a discussion, there is a problem.
Yes.
And you need to find out what's happening behind the scenes. So you want to have a board that can agree to disagree.
But
you have to respect the opinion and understand that God made us different. Everybody is not going to agree with you.
Absolutely. What type of skin is required to be a woman in leadership and power like yours?
You have to have thick skin. I would not wish this on my worst enemy. And I'm going to be honest with you. Because you have to have thick skin to be able to take the naysayers, the naysayers, and the haters, and the iterisms, and all those other people. You have to have that thick skin to get through it. You have to have a good support group that you can talk to after going into the trenches, going to war. Because if not, it can be an issue. I agree with therapy. Even having a therapist, it's mental health is a big issue here in the state of Georgia. We passed a resolution in Newton County, and our governor just signed off on mental health. You have to have a professional or someone that you can talk to in this position, because there's going to be times to where you're going to be upset. You're going to be disappointed. You take on everybody's problems and issues. I'm a fixer. I want to find a way to solve it. I want to say I want to make everybody happy, but I want you at least about 45%, okay?
Right.
And so you're going to take on everybody's issues. You want to make everybody happy and making sure you're doing a good job, but there are going to be times when that's not going to happen, because there are going to be people in place to try to stop that. The enemy is going to be there to kill, steal, and destroy.
Yeah.
And you have to make sure you have that thick skin and find a way to go around it. And that no does not always mean no. There's a loophole in everything.
That's exactly right. You know, what are your recommendations to women who are in places of leadership, in business, you know, and of course, their voices are oftentimes meant to be silenced by their counterparts. What recommendations do you have for women who are oftentimes experiencing that?
To build a support group.
Okay.
I have a support group of women who are elected officials that I can call on and say, okay, this happened in my county. I need some advice. Or have you gone through this specific issue? Or if you just don't want to talk about politics at all, get together, go out to have a good time, have friends where you could just talk about nothing. No politics. Politics is not what we're talking about today. You have to have a support group to be able to get through this. You have to have someone you converse with. Also, if you're looking to get into this political arena, you have to have mentors. I didn't just get into politics. I had some state reps who I've worked on their campaigns, because I'm considered a social media expert. I worked on their campaigns. I have some elected officials who I talked to before I became an elected official. And they kind of mentored me on what to expect, what may happen. They didn't give me everything, because if I knew everything, I probably would have not ran. but they coach me, and I still talk to them to this day.
Wow.
And I'm able to get that advice from them and say, okay, this happened. What do you think I should do?
Wow.
You can't answer every negative thought that everybody puts on your pages, because now social media is a way of complaining. And so the way of complaining and the way of people putting rumors and various things out there, you can't answer everybody. As long as you're doing your job, that's all that matters.
That's so very true. You know, as a woman in leadership, oftentimes you probably face times of conflict, times when you have to have compromise. We'll go to break, and we'll come back and talk about that when we return. Also, she's the author of a new book, and you got to check it out. We're going to talk about that too. It's Sister Talk. Join the conversation. 404-726-1380. It's News Adult 1380 WAOK.
You clear?
This is good. This is good. So yeah, I got to get your other books too.
Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's a good outlet to talk about it.
Yeah, it
Absolutely.
is. It
it's
is.
a good outlet to talk about
you're
it.
very articulate about it too.
Thank you.
You know.
WAOK. It's the new Rashad Ritchie Morning Show. Weekday from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. This your man Rashad Richard, host of the Rashad Richard Morning Show. Politics, social issues, entertainment, and yeah, even some trap music. We talk about it all. The Rashad Richard Morning Show, only on News and Talk, 1380 WAOK.
Chris, congratulations. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I got your text too. Thanks.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. When I set out to build our firm, it was built for greatness. It was built for you. For over 35
How long have you had your show?
my mission has been to deliver
I've been
more
here
for our
since
clients,
2020. I came in February of
You came
2020
during the
in the
pandemic.
pandemic, and you know, talk radio is mostly male dominated.
Yes.
So the manager wanted a female in here, so it was rough. It was rough my first year.
Really?
Because the male callers are very sexist and don't appreciate hearing the voice of a woman for anything. So it was really rough. I mean, I had to come. Woo!
So I'll tell everybody, politics is in everything that you do.
Yeah.
So you went through the political
Yes, ma'am.
portion of in talk radio.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. And it requires tough skin. I mean, they'll just come right out and say it, you know. Women should not be, you know, doing radio.
And an interesting fact, women are the number one voters.
Yes, we are.
Yes, the number one voters.
Right, and they hate that. Black men hate it.
Call 470-660-HAIR. That's 470-660-HAIR.
It's amazing the mindset of how some of them think when it comes to women. You know, they don't want to have us to have a voice. They don't want us to give our opinion and talk about
That's
issues and things like that.
470-660-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
And to me, that's a personal problem and a mental problem.
It is personal and mental. You're right. You're right. What did one man say about that story? It went viral on social media about there's a white man talking about
The pastor?
yeah,
If you walk around a certain outfit that you
with
deserve
shorts
to be
on,
raped.
you deserve to be raped. And I had men to call in and
Pastor
say,
said that?
yeah, a white pastor said it on social media and it went viral, saying that if women wear shorts, they deserve to be raped.
Yep, and he said if he was on the jury, he would let them go. I said, what?
And I had men calling in
And
and
defend
say,
him. And then Ben called it, bring it up and defend him.
Yeah.
Plus, get a $500 help credit to cover your costs, so you have more money
Oh
for
my
things like
God.
gas, groceries,
Yeah,
rent, and utilities.
I didn't know you saw people
Right.
existed.
I'm gonna go look that one up.
Yeah.
406
Oh my goodness.
0519 800 406
Not about
0519.
And just don't know if he has a daughter, she might be wearing them short shorts in college. For real. You don't know what your children doing 24/7.
You don't.
You sure
You
don't.
don't know.
That mindset is
I mean, you can raise them right, but you don't know
Yeah, no,
what
you're
they're
right.
doing when they're not in your sight. So.
That's right.
College coaches. Get info on jobs and internships. WAOK's Mary Gill will be broadcasting live from noon to 3 p.m. For tickets and more information, visit blackcollegeexpo.com. That's blackcollegeexpo.com. News and Talk 1380, WAOK. Now back to Sister Talk with On Point with Wanda and Stokes on News and Talk 1380, WAOK.
Alrighty. Commissioner Sanders, talk to us about this book. I mean, you know, you got a whole lot in here, and I love the way you're addressing different topics and how it's really a resource book. You're able to learn from it and grow and just very practical in nature. But this book, Unveiling the Black Women in a Male-Dominated, Mandated World, an Elected Official's Journey. Talk to us about why did you write such a book?
Well, it started out as journaling. When I first entered into this position of being an elected official, I went through some trials and tribulation, even from my first meeting of my board. I wouldn't say the full board, of them not wanting me to be vice chair my first year.
Okay.
And so going through all those from my first, second, third, fourth meetings, going through so much, I said, okay, I need to write this down. I need to journal it. And, you know, journaling is really good to get it out.
Yeah.
And so after journaling, I said, I need to turn this into the book. And then talking about it, because I go live and talk about my situations to my constituents. I call my constituents my neighbors because I live in a neighborhood.
Okay.
I call them constituents. And so someone said, you need to write a book. And so I said, I think I do. And so I started writing the book. And then I said, I need to bring on some other elected officials, some other commissioners, some state reps, some chairwomen, people who have gone through this. And so I reached out to a lot of women, and I selected a few out of that bulk, and I picked a commissioner out of Alabama as well. I picked a commissioner in Jasper County, Georgia, where she is the only African-American female and the only African-American on her board.
Wow.
And also a state rep who's now running for senator. And so I picked them, and they actually told me their stories. And reading their stories before I published it in the book, I actually started crying. And I cried because their issues were mine. And we're in totally different jurisdictions, totally different counties and states. And to see them going through the same thing, and they also are the only African-American female on their board, going through the exact same issues, I knew that we had something here. I also wanted to see more women, especially minority women. And I'm going to put a disclaimer on that because people are going to say, well, you're being racist because you're saying minority. You're being racist because you're saying African-American. No, we are scarce.
Yeah.
There's a lot of policies that are being made on our behalf, and women are not in these seats. Minority women are not in these seats. As you can see, in 2024, I'm the first African-American female.
Yes.
In 24.
Yeah.
And so to say that in 2024, that means that there is a problem. Either women are scared to run for this position. They've heard that politics is bad. It turns you to evil. As I was talking to somebody else coming in here, they was like, I'm so glad you're not an evil elected official. I said, well, politics is not bad. It's the people who make it that way.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to write a book because, as I stated, I am a technical writer. I write college textbooks. And so I wanted to write it not only as a book, I wanted to write it with the stories I've gone through, but write it like a textbook. It gave them homework. So if they wanted to become an elected official, they see our stories, they hear our stories, they see how we actually went through them, and I asked the question, would you have taken this situation the same way that I did it?
Wow.
Or if this person went through this situation, how would you handle it? What would be your response? Also in the book, it gives a little bit more, but I don't want to keep talking. I know you probably have a question, but that's one of the reasons why I wrote the book, because I wanted to be a guide, and it was also a way to get it out to the world.
Yeah. So this book is not only your voice, but the voice of other Black female leaders. What would you say overall, between those that you interviewed and yourself, are some of the common challenges that Black female leaders have?
The challenges that we face is first being a woman. That's number one.
Okay.
And then also being African American, but a lot of times it's because we're educated. Speaking to a lot of the women who are the first in this position or in elected official position, they are college educated. As we were taught, and this is something that probably those who are my non-melanated friends do not know, we are taught to be 10 times as better. And so we go and seek the education. We go and seek the qualifications that we need for that position. And so even my parents said, you have to be better because they're going to look at you differently. And that does happen, whether you want to believe it or not. So a lot of women, African-American women who are in a position, are college educated. They either have a master's or PhD, or at least it's a bachelor's degree. And so we are educated on the board. And sometimes we're on boards where our fellow members may or may not, majority of times may not, have the same educational level that we do. We didn't do it because we wanted to run for office.
Right.
We did it because we did it for ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That's what I wanted for my life. I wanted that for my life. I wanted the education for my life. I wanted to set the example for my child so she knows. I have parents who are educators. So we knew in my household, getting an education to get a degree was not an option. Right. You either, my father said, you either go get a degree or you go into the military. So I was not going to the military.
And you're getting out. You're getting out of this.
Okay. So I went and got the education. The same thing with my daughter. I taught her education is important. It's something that nobody can take away from you, no matter what you go through. They cannot take your mind, your mental away from you. So it's really important. So that's one reason why, that's the things that we go through, is because of our status.
Absolutely. So talk about this for us, all right? Conflict, compromise, and competition.
You're going to go through a lot of conflict dealing with this position, especially in the book as we talk about being an African American woman. I'm a go-getter. And give you an example, I applied for a $4 million grant for my community, and I was awarded that $4 million grant. It wasn't the $4 million grant, it was who did it, that the grant is still sitting there. And so the conflict is, she did this, she did that, she thinks that she can do that. No, I saw a problem. And, you know, as women, when we see a problem, we were raised to solve it.
Right,
we are mothers, we're nurturers. And so I saw a problem in my community. I saw we didn't have enough funding. I saw that our kids needed some place to go, that they're walking the streets and you hear them talking about this child is robbing, breaking into cars. Well, you got to give them something to do.
That's right.
They won't be breaking in your cars if you give them their own location and space. So I saw we didn't have enough money. And so the grant came from our congressman, our congressional dollars. And I said, hey, community, I even told my district about it, who wrote support letters while I was writing the grant. We can get $4 million to help match the money that we already have in place. And so that's where the conflict came in place, to where I applied for that, I moved forward. Compromise. When it comes to the compromise part of it, you have to work together.
Yeah.
And the compromising part can be very tricky. Like, what do I have to give up to gain what I need for my community?
Yeah.
What are you expecting of me in order to get this for a community that we all represent?
That's right.
We might represent a certain district or a post, but we represent this entire county.
That's right.
So whether it's in my community, you still represent Newton County.
Right.
So we vote together on issues. So we have to compromise. Okay, you don't want this in your community. Well, I need this in my community. So, okay, let's kind of work together with your constituency. You work with mine. They need this, and you don't want that. Let's see how we can work together. The issues come where you have different personalities.
Yeah.
I am a dominant personality. I know that about me. I know that about me. I've said that to many. I am a dominant personality.
And you don't apologize for it. I mean, this
I'm
is who you are.
unapologetic.
Yeah.
I am a dominant personality. I will not allow anyone to walk over me. That's
Yeah.
just who I am. But I believe in respect, and respect is earned.
That's good.
And I also believe that the first impression is the last impression.
Yes.
So how you start off a meeting, or you start off with that person, it's how it's going to be throughout.
Absolutely.
So you have to have leaders that shows the example.
Absolutely.
And so when the example is shown, then everybody else falls in line and it trickles down.
Yes.
And you said conflict. You said there was one more.
Competition.
Competition. There's always going to be competition, but there should not be.
Right.
Because we're all working together for a common goal. If you say that we are one, that means everybody. We're not just one Newton or one county or one whatever. I'm saying my county as an example because I am a Newton County Commissioner. We're not just one for the benefit of you at a specific time.
Yeah.
We are one in every situation, no matter what. So if you're going to do this for this community, you need to do it for that community. If you're going to put something here, you need to make sure it's put in those places. We got to make sure that everybody's accounted for, and equality, diversity, equity, and inclusion.
That's it.
DEI
yes.
is a part of the plan and the process.
I agree. One final question before you leave. How in the world do you unwind?
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That is, I'm still trying to figure that out. And I talked to my professional, my friend, and I call getting a dose of Ursula, which is my therapist that I talk to about these situations.
Yeah.
And like I said, you got to have somebody you talk to. She said, you just have to say no. Because I was that commissioner that would answer the phone at 11 o'clock at night.
Okay.
And so I have to learn how to balance. And so I am learning the winding down. I'm learning to pull away and to turn off my county phone over the weekend. Or if I'm on a vacation, I'm not answering and I have to say, I'll get back to you on Monday. And so we have to remember that we're only one body and we're only one person. And we got to take care of it.
You got to take care of yourself, Commissioner.
Yes, ma'am.
Listen, is there a favorite like smoothie, juice, drink, salad, or meal that just kind of puts you in that place of rest as well, relaxation?
I love smoothies. I make my own smoothies.
Okay.
So just sitting at home and watching Netflix.
Oh, I love it. That's good.
Is my wind down, or catching up on a show is my wind down.
That's good.
And I'm an AI artist too, so I love designing AI art.
Okay.
That has become my passion.
See, that's good.
And so I sit back and to have design whatever comes to mind, I design it. So those are the things that I do to wind down.
Wow. Well, awesome. Thanks for sharing with us today. Where can people go to get your book and to follow you?
They can go to Alana, ALANA, Sanders.com to purchase the book. And it's also on Amazon. You can purchase it there as well. But if you go to AlanaSanders.com, it has all of my information. If you want to follow my commissioner pages on every network from Facebook, Instagram to Twitter, TikTok, I'm under Commissioner Alana Sanders, or just type in Alana, ALANA, Sanders.
Yes, the lady with the hats.
The lady with the hats.
It's so wonderful to have you share with us today, and we wish you continued success in your work as a public servant, as an author, and all that you do. You are women's history. You are really a trailblazer and inspiring to so many. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're more than welcome. Have a great one. It's been wonderful. Listen, we're getting out of here.